All right. So, hello, Jared.
Hello.
How are you?
Excellent, thank you.
All right. So, I'm very glad and really happy that you accepted to do this interview. At least in this way, your students and everyone else who can come to your courses, your classes, can see what type of person you actually are outside of the classroom also. Okay?
Sure.
All right. So, can you start?
Please.
All right. Good. So, what are you up to these days?
What am I up to?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm a pretty busy person with teaching, as well as working in the business industry here in Timișoara. And I have two daughters at home that my wife and I seem to be driving everywhere for the number of activities that they're in. So.
Okay. All right. Okay. So, which part of America are you from?
I grew up first part of my life in Ohio, and then moved closer to the East Coast to the Philadelphia area, and was generally in that area until I moved here.
Mm-hmm. So, what was it like growing up there?
Truthfully, I have nothing to measure it against because I don't know what it's like growing up here.
Okay.
But I had a nice childhood. Played sports. Every type of sport you can name, I played growing up in both Ohio and Pennsylvania.
All right. What's your daily routine?
Waking up at 6:30 or so, and then getting the girls up. My wife and I are making coffee and breakfast and getting the kids ready for school and trying to hoard everybody out of the door by 7:40. And I start work at 8:30, and a couple of days a week I come here to teach at 6 o'clock.
What changes in the weekend?
Excuse me?
What changes in the weekend?
Well, I don't go to work on the weekend, but unfortunately still waking up pretty early, and then my wife has a busy weekend. She also teaches English classes. So I'm usually doing activities with the girls on Saturdays, and then we have family time on Saturday afternoon. I like to cook out.
Okay.
And Sundays we're always running as well.
All right. What's your favorite sport?
Favorite sports to play or to watch? Or
you choose.
I would have to say golf is my favorite sport to play now because I'm getting old.
Who do you think is going to win the championship this year at golf?
The overall for the whole year, I think I would have to bet on Tiger Woods.
So, who's your favorite player?
I would say Tiger. I grew up watching him.
Okay. Why do you teach?
Why do I teach? I teach because I love the satisfaction of being able to help somebody get better, no matter what it is.
Why do you teach business English?
Well, I have a big history, or long history with English, with English because I'm a native speaker, but with the business aspect. I've been in business for over 18 years, and I have some knowledge from that.
All right. So, what's your most overused phrase at work?
Actually, I think if I would say overused, it's hard to say overused, but the one that I probably use the most is thank you.
Okay, all right. What's your most overused phrase at home?
What are you doing? When your daughter gets older, you'll understand.
Okay. Who is your best friend?
Who's my best friend? Mike Walchuk.
Oh, all right. Who is Mike Walchuk?
He's my best friend. He lives in northern Jersey. We've been best friends for a long time.
Great. Who is your all-time favorite comic book character?
Wow. I'd say it's probably a toss-up between Wolverine and the Punisher.
Great. What would you say has been your greatest life achievement so far?
I think it changes every day because it becomes different every day, but it's what my daughters do today.
All right. What's the most hilarious situation you've been in?
My class, all of my students will tell you this because this is the first thing I tell my class.
Okay.
Because I want to break the ice and I want them to understand it's okay to be embarrassed.
Yeah.
But my a girlfriend that I was dating in college, I meant to send a little descriptive text to her, and this was back when texting was new, and accidentally sent it to her father. So, and I tell my students that to let them know that if they ever get something wrong, it can't be as embarrassing as what I did, so it's fine.
That's a great story. All right. How would you describe yourself?
Oh, wow. Fun, loving, but also serious. I know when to draw the line. I know when it's, that it has to be in the box, perfectly serious. But I'm also very forgiving and open to helping people.
All right, great. What's the best thing about having a family?
There is no best thing about having a family. The best thing in life is having a family.
All right, great. What's one thing you would never do?
What's one thing I would never do? I'll never walk on Mars. Never say never.
Sure.
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
What's one thing I would never do because keeping inside making sure it's ethical, legal, and moral. Keeping inside of that. Why say never? You never know.
Good. Yeah, you're right. All right, let's go on then. Name 3 things you haven't done yet but would love to do.
Name 3 things that I haven't done yet but would love to do. Okay. I would love to visit Barcelona.
Okay.
I would love to walk my daughters down the aisle one day.
All right.
And I would love to videotape the boy that comes to take my first daughter out for a date. Because myself and my football team and my friends will be there waiting for him.
That sounds amazing. All right. Okay. What's your favorite TV show?
Currently, I'd say Game of Thrones, but of all time, I would probably have to say The West Wing.
Okay, that's a good one. All right. So, what do you think is the one TV show or movie that people should watch who are learning English?
I think it depends on what type of English. If they're looking at the business English or something like that, as a TV show, The West Wing, or even House of Cards would be nice because they use a lot of phrases that add context. If you're looking at a lower level English, though, start with any of the cartoons. I tell my team here, set the dubbing on your TV to English and just watch the Disney Channel or something. It'll help them.
All right. Do you like cooking?
I love cooking. Love it.
What's your favorite meal?
To cook?
To cook or to eat?
To cook or to eat. I would say, well, my favorite meal is to cook. It's probably chicken divan.
Okay, all right. What was your favorite meal when you were growing up?
Grandma's chicken pot pie.
Okay, all right. What's the best thing about America?
The best thing about America is that it's a land of opportunity.
What's the best thing about Romania?
It's also a land of opportunity.
All right. What can you find here in Romania that you can't find in America?
My wife.
The best question. The best answer, sorry.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have a hidden talent?
Do I have a hidden talent?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I have maybe what some people don't know is my ability to forgive that maybe people don't understand. But I wouldn't say it's a talent.
Could you teach it to anyone?
To forgive?
Yeah.
Probably not. It's within each person's heart to forgive. It's something that you have to teach yourself.
All right. What would you do if you weren't teaching business English?
I'm taking my daughter to gymnastics class. Mondays and Wednesdays are
There you go.
the class for her.
Okay, all right. What's the best thing about teaching at Eduhub?
I think first and foremost is the team that I teach with.
Mm-hmm.
I love the teachers here.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone from administration down that works together, and it sets up an atmosphere that I want to be a part of.
Mm-hmm. Right. When was it the most nervous you've ever been?
Most nervous I've ever been.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, because it depends on how you look at the circumstances. Of course, I was very nervous the first time I taught.
Okay. Something to be nervous about.
Taught English, the first
course.
time.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also, I've never been so nervous that I haven't done something.
Mm-hmm.
I like that feeling, the challenge.
Okay, all right. What's your favorite video game of all time?
Video game, I'd say Contra.
All right, great. What's the best team building activity?
The best team building activity. Karaoke.
Great.
Karaoke. Once again, as long as you can do something to embarrass yourself in front of your team or your friends, then you break the ice and you can work better together.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What are you most hyped about this month?
Oh my God, this month is crazy. I would say Endgame by Avengers, but then that sneak peek for Star Wars came out and heard Palpatine laughing in it. Oh my goodness.
You heard it, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
So I have to say Endgame.
Endgame.
That's going to happen
this month, right? Exactly.
Well, after Easter.
There you go. Okay. So what ticks you off every time?
When people don't try.
Okay. All right. What are you most nostalgic for from the States?
Probably some of the candy. I can't get Swedish fish here, and I can't get the conversation hearts for Valentine's Day here.
Mm-hmm. Okay, all right. Who would you meet, but you have never had the chance to?
Who would I like to meet that I haven't gotten a chance to?
Mm-hmm.
Either Richard Branson or Elon Musk.
All right. Who's the most talented person you know?
Most talented person I know, my wife.
Oh, great. Okay. Your wife is going to love this interview. All right. If you could have a superpower, what would it be?
I think I have one. I'm a dad.
That's a very good answer. I totally agree with you. Yeah, right. How would you describe the teachers at Eduhub?
Oh, well, positive. They're a team. They're very passionate. They really care about what they do, and they just hope that their students are as passionate learning as they are teaching.
All right, thank you. What's the one thing people have to know when they're learning business English?
Yeah, I don't think there's one thing that they have to know with business English, but I think there's one thing that they have to understand when they come to class or anything that I'm coaching or teaching, and that is what courage really is. Courage isn't about not having fear. Courage is having fear but still going forward. And I need my team to have courage. They're in a second or third language, which is unbelievable because I'm still on my first. And they're going to be uncomfortable, but try. It's okay if you fail. Nobody who has really achieved something hasn't failed sometime in their life.
Okay. What's the one thing that's missing from your life right now?
Nothing.
All right. What's happened to you recently that you will never forget?
Recently that I'll never forget. Pretty much sort of an answer like I gave before, but every day it's something from my kids.
Okay.
Had a great time this weekend with my daughter's 9th birthday and followed that up with the Motion Run and never forget it.
Yeah, I saw your medallions from the motion picture.
Well, yeah.
Did you steal some?
I do.
Okay.
I had to push some kids out of the way, but...
Okay. All right. If you could change your name, what would you change it into?
Oh, wow. I don't think I would change my name.
Okay.
I wish people would understand what I'm saying when I say it sometimes, and it's hard because 98% of the Romanian friends I have here pronounce my last name wrong.
Really?
Oh, yes, it's Stokes instead of Stokes, but I wouldn't change it.
Okay.
I'm happy with it.
Okay. Can you say something only an American would say?
Something only an American would say. Wow. I don't know how to do that properly. Well, one of the things that frustrates me that only an American would say, and I really don't hear it from my stat class, when they say a sentence, they always say me and Roland instead of Roland and I.
Okay.
Even the native speakers say it the wrong way, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But besides that, I would probably have to say that there's not really a lot that Americans would say that somewhere else wouldn't.
Okay, all right. Why should people learn business English?
Well, I try to teach my class this. The difference between general English and business English is context. When we take the general words that you use, daily words, and we put them into phrases, and it adds context and it adds strength behind it. Unfortunately, people will overlook someone's intelligence if they do not use grammar properly, if they do not use the proper vocabulary and phrases. So it's very important to get your point across in a fast-paced business world by using the proper phrases and sentences and structure. So it's not that the person doesn't know the soft skill maybe, but if they don't know how to do it in the international language, which is English really for business, then their point might not be taken properly.
Okay. So if you had to give like one or two pieces of advice for people who want to start learning business English, what would it be?
The first thing would have an open mind. First is have an open mind. I teach a lot of soft skill with the actual language. And the soft skill is not always known even in Romanian. So have an open mind and trust the process. That would be the second part. Trust the process. When we do reports, it's usually a new soft skill for most of my students. So we take it step by step, and it's a little building blocks. But by the end of the unit, they now know how to do it. But in the middle, it's kind of, I'm not sure where I'm at. And when they see it at the end, their eyes open. Wow.
All right. Any final words in Romanian before we finish?
In Romanian?
Yes.
Mulțumesc mult. Și gata.
Yeah. Thank you very much for the interview. That's really great. I really appreciate you being here and being here with us at the school and teaching with us. I really appreciate you as a person and as a teacher and as a father. All right. Thank you very much. That was it.